Come on now.
That's right. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe buttons, followed by that notification button. That'll help out the channel. Thanks. Hey, welcome back, my fellow investors. It's me, E.T. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a self-taught investor who loves to talk about ways to increase one's net worth and also increase your financial literacy. And today's topic, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the cash flow quadrants. Now, the cash flow quadrants, I learned about this, read about this from reading this book here by Robert Kiyuosaki. Yes, this is the Robert Kiyuosaki from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is actually his follow-up book to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out in 1997. This one here came out in 1998. Very good read. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the main principle, the gist of this book, and that is the cash flow quadrants. We're going to talk about what it is, all right, how to generate income or revenue from how it's generated when it comes to the cash flow quadrants. And the very last thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about being rich versus being wealthy. There's a difference, and we're going to talk about it and see how it relates to the cash flow quadrant. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's get to it. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, what is the cash flow quadrants? 4 quadrants. In this quadrant here, the E represents employee. The S is for someone who is self-employed. The B is for business. And the I is for the investor. Why is that important? We'll get to that. Now, how is income generated or revenue generated for each one of these quadrants? All right. First of all, if you're an employee, you work for your income because you have a J-O-B. Now, that J-O-B, you know what they say about J-O-Bs, just over broke. That basically means somebody who has a J-O-B and they're working from that paycheck to paycheck, just over broke, all right? But as an employee, you earn your income from working on a job, all right? As a self-employed person who has their own job, you are working for self. And under the B for business here, basically, they have a system. They have systems. Learn how to spell systems and people working for them. Business owners got employees working for them. The employees are generating revenue for the business, and the business then in turn pays the employee an income. An investor, how they make their money, get money from assets. That asset is generating revenue and or income, and also capital appreciation. Now, with this, so income on this side is generated from an employee having a job, a self-employee being self-employed, a business person having a business where they have systems and people working for them to bring in revenue in order for them to pay them an income. And then for the investors, you've just got assets that's generating income for you and capital appreciation, increasing your overall net worth. Now, a lot of people say, hey, I can be a self-employed business or investor and be rich, or even an employee and be rich. Yes, it's very possible. Basically, there is a difference, however, between rich and wealthy. Being rich is nothing more than, hey, you're making lots of money. Also, they're not living paycheck to paycheck, and they have enough money to buy lots of stuff. That's being rich. Let me tell you something about rich. Rich here encompasses all of this. You can be rich and be an employee, self-employed, business, or an investor, because this here will apply to you. A lot of your high income earners, you know, your docs, your lawyers, professional athletes, they're rich. They have a lot of money. They're not living from paycheck to paycheck. And they have enough money to buy a lot of stuff. Key thing there is this stuff. What are they buying? But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Now let's take a look at the difference between being rich and wealth, or wealthy. Being wealthy basically means, because guess what, guys? You've got money generating money. This money could be in the way of assets. Assets generating money. And you don't have to work for money, because the money is working for you. Being rich, in order to stay rich, you got to chase money. Once you're wealthy, money is chasing you. Keep that in mind. All right, so now, if you're an employee, bottom line, whether it's an employee, if you got a job and you're just making it pay from paycheck to paycheck, realize what quadrant you're in and realize where you need to go. All right. Oh, let me back up. Let me back it up. Wealth. Wealth is not encompassing all of this. Wealth can only be on the right side of the quadrant, either business or investor, not employee, not self-employed. Now, you're probably gonna say, well, I know a lot of self-employed people who are wealthy. Hey, just because you're in one particular quadrant doesn't mean that you can't be over in another quadrant. You're not isolated to a particular quadrant. If you're an employee, there's nothing stopping you from investing. And if you do enough investing, do the right type of investing, eventually you'll get to the point where you're going to be wealthy. You can no longer have to be an employee. You can be a full-time investor, because now guess what? Your money is generating money and you don't have to work for your money. Or you can be self-employed, but to get to that point where you're going to be wealthy, guess what? You're going to have to take all of that, turn it into a business so that somebody else can work for you. Now, self-employed, if you're not at work, if you don't work, decide not to work, what's going to happen to your business? So the key is, if you're here, build up enough systems there, hire enough people to work that for you, so that way you're moving from self-employed to a business owner, where you don't have to, somebody else is running the business for you. An example of that would be the two that comes to mind right off the bat, if you think about it, and trust me, I'm just using this as an illustration. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, he's an investor who goes out and buys businesses, and he lets the CEO, CFO, and everybody in that business run that business. What's going to happen with him? They create the revenue, he gets paid. All right. Same thing with Jeff Bezos when it comes to Amazon. The most recent one that I can think of, think about it. They bought Ring. Remember Ring? Ring was on that Shark Tank. They couldn't cut a deal with the guy on Ring. Jeff Bezos ended up going in, buying the company for $1 billion, and kept the founder of Ring on as the CEO. Guess what? Now Amazon and Jeff Bezos don't have to worry about that. They're investors. They bought a business. They got people working for them. They got a system in that business that's working for them, and they got individual employees working for them to bring that money in.
Come on now.
That's right. go ahead and hit that like and subscribe buttons, followed by that notification button. That'll help out the channel. Thanks. So, regardless of where you're at, if you're here, you can still do this. Do this in a lot of different ways. You know, you've got a lot of vehicles to start investing in. You know, you got, 401ks, Roth IRAs. You can open up an individual account. You can go out, possibly even start buying some real estate, or even start your own business. But just remember where you're at, these quadrants, and realistically it's on the right side. Business and investors, that's where wealth is created. Over here, you can be rich, but you better do something on this side of the quadrants in order to turn that rich into wealth. And that's the key, wealth, so that you don't have to work for your money is working for you. That's pretty much the essence of Cashflow Quadrants. That's the essence. That's enough. Hopefully you guys got the principle. I would definitely recommend that if you haven't read the book, read the book. I know a lot of people have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, but trust me, this one here is on the same level. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cashflow Quadrants. I think if you read this, Rich Dad Poor Dad, you have to read this one as well. All right, great information, great way to start you thinking and realize that, okay, which side of the quadrant am I on? Do I want to be wealthy? If I want to be wealthy, guess what? I have to start thinking about ways to get on the right side of the quadrant, whether it's business or whether it's an investor or a combination of both. Whew. Guys, with all that said, I want you to remember 3 things, and you know what they are. Save, invest, apply what you know, because knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge that's power. And with that said, guys, I will see you on the next video. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.